I was a burned out, stressed out healthcare professional. Your body whispers to you, gives you signals. And I ignored and kept pushing through. And it finally caught up with me. And I think cancer became one of the greatest teachers in my life. My spirit started returning. A lot of healing is coming back home to yourself.
Welcome back to the show. Today I have such a fun guest. Her name is Dr. Laura Ricci, and every time that I've met her, seen her, she just has the most beautiful, smiling, warm face. And so I have just kind of recently learned about her journey. She gets highlighted in a lot of things as a physical therapist coming from sort of a medical background. She went through some really tough things. You had a really bad diagnosis at one point in your 20s, I believe. You come from the medical world. So as a physical therapist, knowing so much, I'm sure that diagnosis was very scary. So tell us about your story a little bit, like as a doctor of physical therapy, ending up with this rare cancerous tumor. How did you handle that? What did you learn? I know we're going to go through a lot of these different points to the story, but we want to hear how it all began for you.
Oh my gosh, it was such a journey. And it's very different when you're the patient versus when you are the practitioner. And I was gaining weight and just not feeling like myself and thought it was depression. No, I didn't think it was depression. I actually thought it was an issue with my thyroid because I had family history of that. And I had gone in to see my doctor and he diagnosed me with depression and sent me on my way. There was no testing done, no exam, nothing. He was like, "You're depressed." And that was that. So I started having what felt like 24/7 uterine cramps and went to go see my OB-GYN. And he did an exam and palpated my abdomen. And he was like, "I think you have a hernia. Let's send you for a CT scan." And it turned out to be a mass. And so then they did biopsy. And I remember being on the table, getting a biopsy done and having like complete panic attack, like being like, I'm 27 years old. I'm now having a biopsy. Like, what is happening? And I was told that it was a fatty tissue tumor, but it was growing rapidly. So they scheduled me for surgery. And in the 2 weeks that surgery was scheduled, it went from golf ball to racquetball size to softball size. So it was pretty aggressive. And I was told, we got it all. It's not cancer. And then got a call a week later from the surgeon saying, we didn't get it all. And this is a desmoid tumor. It's an extremely rare sarcoma. Like 1 to 2 out of a million people get this type of cancer. And they have estrogen receptors. And so that was a big thing that they said, don't get pregnant, because it could cause the cancer to return. And so here I am, like I've only been married for 3 years. I'm 27 years old. And to just get not only diagnosed with cancer, but told that there's now like infertility related to the cancer was just really heavy. So I went through this dark night of the soul and we did surgery to remove it. And they sent me back to work 2 weeks later. Like a mesh in my abdomen.
Right?
I was struggling, and
I would think.
the mesh herniated. We did more surgery. It herniated again, and I ended up having a complete abdominal wall reconstruction done in Dallas. And I was in the hospital for 5 days. I had drains coming out of me for 2 weeks. It was just a really, really big procedure. And that was kind of the catalyst, because my surgeon said, look, you've had these previous hernias. We just completely reconstructed your abdominal wall. We moved fascia around. We removed all the synthetic mesh. And he said, you can't work for a year as a PT.
Oh my gosh.
We went through this whole identity crisis of like, Lily, am I, if I'm not Dr. Laura Ricci, if I'm not treating patients, if I'm not doing this? And it kind of set me on this journey of being more open to holistic tools and natural remedies. And I took a 1-year certification in women's health and functional nutrition coaching. But it took kind of being in that dark night of the soul and really going through a lot of fear and grief and just feeling very confused that ultimately kind of set me on this path to helping other people who may be struggling with this and realizing that I was a burned out, stressed out healthcare professional. And looking back, I don't think I ever could have really walked away from that. I had too much invested. And your body whispers to you. It gives you signals, and I ignored and kept pushing through and saying yes all the time to extra hours or more on my load or everything, and it finally caught up with me, and I think cancer became one of the greatest teachers in my life to learning how to set healthy boundaries, to creating a different life for myself where I could create my own schedule and have flexibility, and I wasn't listening, so my body said, "We're gonna force you to."
We're gonna put you down till you listen. It's
Yes.
crazy. Oh my gosh. So you had surgery. Did you have to do any chemo, radiation, or was it basically like they got it out? That's not part of what they do for that type of cancer.
It's funny because when the surgeon called me, he said, "Hey, we didn't get it all. There's positive margins." So the surgeon wanted to go in and do more surgery. They also referred me to a radiation oncologist. The radiation oncologist actually wanted to remove my ovaries, put them in my armpits, radiate my abdomen, move them back down. And I said, "That sounds like a horrible idea." Immediately, no. So we actually went to MD Anderson Cancer Center because they specialize in this type of really rare sarcoma. And they said, what are they going to surgically remove? These are microscopic margins. If you do radiation, it could fry your bowel. You're too young for radiation. So thankfully, they said, we're going to take a wait and see approach. We're going to do scans every 6 months. We did that for 5 years and then annual scans for 10 years. And I remember asking my oncologist at MD Anderson Cancer, it's a world renowned cancer center, saying, what can I do to prevent this from ever coming back? Because at the time they told me I had 50% chance of recurrence. That's like flipping a coin. And I was like, is there diet? Is there lifestyle? What can I do? And he said, no, just eat the standard American diet. And I said, wow, that now was the moment that I knew I was going to have to step into the role of being the CEO of my health and wellness and making some decisions and not letting outside forces really dictate what was going on with my health. So I'm a big advocate for get a second
Kudos to
opinion.
you.
It can save your life. I was grateful for not getting more surgery or radiation, and I learned a lot of fascinating lessons through that.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Well, the surgery for your abdominal wall sounded horrible. The healing, the pain that you probably endured with the mental anguish of this is who I am, this is stolen from me. Like you worked so many years in college. Oh, it just breaks my heart. But we're glad you found the path you did because you're
Um,
helping so many people. Yeah.
yeah,
I love that you are.
it's different when you're on the surgeon's table and when you're going through your own recovery, and it helped me to really build an expertise in preparing for and recovering from surgery because I've had so many surgeries. And it's very different than reading about something. Like, I'm going through that. And it has allowed me to really understand what my customers and my clients are going through and be able to support them through that.
I love that. And I've seen you in the gym. You were like ripped. So it's incredible that you've had surgeries that have altered, muscles and they've been cut and you come back like that. That's incredible.
Yeah, the physiology is changed. Um, Besides a cancer journey, I was diagnosed with adult hip dysplasia. I've had 8 surgeries on each hip. Um, Major orthopedic surgeries where they fractured my pelvis in multiple places. They put large screws into place.
My gosh, wow.
I've been on a walker for 6 weeks. Those are big, like 8-month recovery surgeries. And as a PT, somebody who's teaching patients how to like walk with a walker and gait train, I was now the patient on the walker. And so I really want to encourage people, you can build back your strength. You can come back stronger. I was told you'll never do a sit up again.
Wow.
Oh gosh, my core is so strong.
I see you do pull-ups.
I do pull-ups, yeah.
That's gangster. I mean, I can do one with a good jump and a pull-up.
That's pull-ups. Man, you can't fake a pull-up. Like it's a
I know. I remember when we were in school, we had to take those like physical fitness tests, and I try to get my toes on the ground and bounce back up because even then, and I was a little beanpole, I should have been able to pull myself out, but those are hard, man.
And I really just want to encourage that to people because I think sometimes people will think surgery is a failure
Right.
or that they're never going to get their fitness level back or something. And I'm here to tell you there's a time and a place for it. It saved my life.
Yeah.
And you can heal through surgery. And I think we have to let go of the judgment around that. But you can absolutely be strong. And there are some people that will take what a doctor or surgeon tells them as the
Right.
final word. And I was kind of the one of like, I'll show you.
Right. Yeah.
Your mentality is, and your mindset is a lot of the healing and recovery process.
It's so true. It is so true. So, what does your lifestyle look like now? So, obviously, the doctor said just eat the SAD diet, the standard American diet, right? What does your diet look like? Your toxic load, your supplements. What does that look like for you? Obviously, you've probably learned a ton since your 20s. I don't know how old you are actually, so I don't. You don't have to reveal your age if you don't want to.
I can. I'm 41. I'm not afraid.
Okay. Oh, you look so young.
So do
Nice.
you, my friend.
Mm. I've got a couple years on you, girl, but that's okay. We just keep doing what we're doing. We'll slow the aging process, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Well, I look at it as I literally detoxified my life from my mindset and negative thoughts to negative people to unhealthy people in my life to leaving unhealthy work environments where I was just burned out and stressed out all the time and really looking to start to provide my body with some tools and resources, like getting rid of the toxins in our home, the cleaning products. I didn't know about any of that
A
until I
lot.
went on this journey. And so there was a lot of education. I hired my own health coach. I got an integrative functional medicine doctor. We dove deeper into things. I was not eating enough protein. I was not eating enough fiber, like all of these things. And I started slowly with making small little changes over time. I had a pretty severe vitamin D deficiency. So it was adding in some supplements, looking at my diet, adding in some movement, and starting to just really support my body on that recovery process and getting a team involved
Right.
of people to support me with that.
Yeah. I know you said that you obviously couldn't go back to work for like a year after your surgery, going back in time a bit. How long did you feel like your recovery was until did you start I guess I should ask, did you start, like, integrating those things pretty much immediately, or was it just this very slow learning process over that year after your surgery of, "Oh, this stuff is toxic, I'm not gonna keep these chemicals in my home," and because it takes some time.
It takes some time, and at first it can feel very overwhelming because you feel like you have to kind of completely revamp your entire life.
Right.
And I was grateful that I had a health coach and I was going through that women's health certification for a year. And so it allowed me the space. And I remember thinking, how messed up is this? When I was told by my surgeon, you can't work for a year.
Mhm.
Part of me had this identity crisis of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And the other part of me went, oh my gosh, I can finally rest.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, how messed up is that? That it took getting a cancer diagnosis to finally, and going through major surgery to feel like
Yeah.
I'd earned the right to rest. Wow. But it did allow me to start diving deeper. And shortly after that, I had found doTERRA, and that helped me in a lot of ways with detoxification, reducing my toxic load in the home and endocrine disruptors, and just slowly adding in one thing at a time. I kind of focused on diet for a little while. And then, that's what I'd really recommend that people do. Don't try to overhaul like pick one thing
Right.
and work on that thing.
Yeah.
And then when that gets easier, then I kind of added in movement. Then I slowly would stack those
Right.
habits so it could be sustainable and it wouldn't feel like I was completely just uprooting my life.
Oh, I know, I know. I mean, I remember it. Mine all kind of started with the birth of my first child, and I mean, it it is like, it's the real deal. Like, I took every cleaner. I mean, it was like 2 garbage bags of, like, stuff in the house that was toxic, pitched that out. The kid was in cloth diapers, like, you're like, "Oh, the diapers are toxic. Oh, their pajamas are toxic with these, flame retardants on them." Like, you just things you just didn't know. And it was like, oh, and then you're like panicking about everything. Yeah, it's so it can definitely overwhelm you and you feel like the crazy person. But some of us go that path, but it's much smarter and much more sustainable to pick that one thing and stack it on. Um, so, what were some of the first signs that you found that your approach was working as you were going through the course, as you were swapping out some of those non-toxic, toxic items for non-toxic items and supplementing and working with your health coach? Was there like an aha moment where you were like, wow, like this is incredible. How was I not taught this when I was in school for all these years to be a physical therapist?
Yeah. I started to notice that I was coming back home to myself.
Yeah.
Like, my spirit started returning. I started to have a little bit more joy and
Mhm.
play and started to figure out who I really was
Mhm.
outside of the credentials and the letters after my name and all of that, like figuring out what I really wanted
Right.
and what that looked like. And that was a really big turning point. I tell people that a lot of healing is coming back home to yourself.
Mhm.
And it's starting to trust your intuition and your inner wisdom because a lot of what we are taught, like when you start healing, it's like we're turning everything on its head of everything that we were
Right.
exposed to before. And we're literally going on a different path. And that can feel scary at times, but it can also be really empowering.
Mhm.
And looking at this as this was going to be an experience that I knew was going to transform me. And during the really, really hard times, I would remind myself, you are not going through all of this like pain and suffering in vain.
Right.
Like, we're going to take the information that we learn from this and we're going to pay it forward and we're going to
Right.
use that to help somebody else. And I, in my darkest moments, remembered that of it's my hope that I can be the person that I wish I would have had newly diagnosed with a lot of fear and a lot of questions. And how can I
Yeah,
move forward?
that's beautiful. No, that's amazing. I think that's where the strongest testimonies come in instead of saying, why is this happening to me? This is happening to me because I'm going to help so many more people, right? Like it had to be me, right? Like you kind of, unfortunately, were the person that it had to be because you can help so many more people than maybe someone else, which seems kind of unfair, but it's interesting how those things weave our path and just help us define who we really are and what we're here for. So, no, that's such a beautiful thing. Um, so if you look back now, knowing what you know, what do you wish you would have known about the root cause healing before your diagnosis? Like, is there things that you wish, like, once you had that diagnosis and then move forward to know everything you know now, are you like, I wonder if these are some of the things that caused that diagnosis? And what if I had have known different?
There's so many things, and I can sum it up with the nervous system trumps all.
Wow.
That when we are living in a dysregulated nervous system, everything will shut down. Your
Mm.
digestion shuts down, your hormones shut down, your immune system shuts down, all of that. And if we are living from a place of not feeling safe and almost bracing and rushing through our life, and the people pleasing, the having no boundaries, the high achieving, the perfectionistic tendencies, all of those things caught up to me.
Mm.
And I can look back to that version, my younger self, and show her a lot of self compassion for what
Yeah.
she's been through and just different traumas and different how we were brought up in certain
Sure.
ways. And I can look at that now and go, wow. And I don't really think I gave the power of the brain and the nervous system enough credit until later in my life, until like now in my 40s,
Right.
of just
Good
how
grief.
important that is
Yes.
for because ultimately the nervous system needs to feel a deep sense of safety within the body. And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of stuff comes from that with healing.
Yeah, that's really powerful. Yeah, I don't think that I realized that either, and I don't know, we're about 7 years apart, but I would wonder if it's like our generation. We just weren't really, I mean, we just were taught to do. Like, I'm just like, I get things done and whatever it takes, like, and that's,
Mhm.
I don't think work ethic is bad, but I just think as women, our bodies go through these cycles, and there's times when we really need to rest, and we won't, and we can't, as the caregivers. So, there's a lot of wisdom in that. Um, so I know that you work with a lot of women now, right? That's primarily kind of you women is your specialty. And you look at those that are getting lab work done, their doctor's saying, everything looks fine, there's nothing wrong with you, and they think they're crazy and that no one understands what they're going through, and they're being told they're normal, which makes them feel crazier, especially if you're in your 40s. Like, everything feels very dramatic. Um, so why do you think this is so common that the labs are coming back normal, or the labs that the MDs are running, and then women, they really do have issues? Is it all going back to that nervous system issue?
It's I could tell you all these different labs, and we can. We'll probably talk about some of them that we could dive deeper and look into. But I really think women tend to put everybody else above themselves, and we're wired from a young age to be agreeable, to never rest. We have dysregulated nervous systems. We don't heal our own traumas. We kind of push them to the side and constantly rushing through life. And I feel like our nervous systems are suffering for that, that we're
Yeah.
under rested, we're under muscled. Like, we really do need some muscle and some strength. A lot of us are malnourished because we don't rest, because we'll just go, go, go. Well, I'll skip.
Yeah.
Or I don't need to eat lunch or whatever. And we're lacking in that finding joy and fun and play in our life. We're not sleeping because the nervous system's so upregulated that's going to be really challenging. And when we don't feel safe, a lot of that's going to show up in our labs, in feeling the chronic fatigue. And I think if we don't feel comfortable setting boundaries, the body is going to create situations to set the boundaries for us that
Yeah.
we don't feel like we can speak or speaking our truth necessarily in situations. I know that definitely was for me. And I think
Mhm.
that's like a deeper conversation of
Sure.
what's going on with us.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. Let's talk about pain specifically. As a physical therapist, you understand multiple angles on that. So when you approach, how do you approach chronic pain differently now from when you did, just fresh out of school as a physical therapist? You've learned so much in the past couple years. How do you look at pain now for people? And
So completely different
yeah.
than what I was taught in PT school. And I recently learned about a concept called neuroplastic pain, which is that pain actually comes from the brain. And it's a perceived threat. And that's really important. The brain is going to interpret whether or not I give you pain based on if it perceives something as threatful, as threatening or
Mm.
not. And what can happen in situations where we have a chronic pain scenario, where we've been having pain ongoing for maybe 3 months, 6 months, and theoretically the tissue should be healed now, but people are still hurting, is almost like a fire alarm that's going off in the brain, but there is no fire. So we can have this glitch happening that's telling us, "Oh, this pain is still going on," but we're actually safe. Physiologically, the tissues are okay. Now we do need to rule out things like cancer, a fracture, an active infection, things like that. So it is important to go to your doctor, look into these things, but when we're in a situation where we've had the scans, we've done the thing, maybe, and if you're like me, you've seen all the doctors and the holistic, the acupuncture, the chiropractor, the laundry list of people,
Mhm.
that's where it may be neuroplastic in nature. And the more that we can work on retraining the brain, we can actually then move the needle with our pain. And chronic pain has a personality type. We mentioned some of it, the people pleasers, the high achievers, the
Yeah.
perfectionists, um, people that want to be seen as a good person,
Mhm.
and they really want to help other people at the expense of their own. And Gabor Mati, he talks about these personality traits. And one is an automatic concern of the emotional needs of others and suppressing your own. Two is a rigid identification with duty, role, and responsibility. Three is suppressing healthy anger. You're nice. You never get angry. And I really feel like, especially as women, we are not taught how to process our anger in healthy ways. And then having these two fatal beliefs that you're responsible for how other people feel and that you must never disappoint anybody.
Yeah.
That's when the body starts to say no. So when I was going into all of this, personality traits of chronic pain, all of this, I share this, and I want to share this in a very respectful way of, I don't want people to feel like I'm telling you the pain is all in your head
Right.
or that
Yeah.
you're being gaslighted. You've been gaslighted enough by the medical community. What I'm saying is pain actually comes from the brain. All pain is real. All
Right.
pain is valid. And if you've been focusing on addressing pain from a physical place for years and years and years through physical therapy and injections, and like you're seeing all these people and you're not getting anywhere, I'm saying it might be time to come back home and start with the brain retraining and nervous system regulation and see what happens. And there's a lot of hope in that because often for me, I was living in chronic pain for over 20 years with daily headaches and frequent migraines. But what's also interesting is it's never just one thing. I also had IBS. I also had chronic pelvic pain and low back pain and SI joint pain and these other weird things, thoracic outlet syndrome and chronic Lyme and a lot of these tools. So I'm here to give some people hope that you have to, and for me, I had to be at the end of my rope. The end of my rope was 20 years of migraines, going to the headache clinic, trying everything functional and Western medicine could offer me. They're offering a migraine surgery. It wasn't going to be covered by insurance. It was ridiculously expensive. And as someone who's had so much surgery, I thought,
Yeah.
I can't do another surgery right now.
Right.
And that's when I became open to this. I actually read a book called The Way Out by Alan Gordon. Completely changed the way that I look at pain. But what I often see when I try to, because you can tell people with chronic pain are hypervigilant. They are these personality types that they may run a little high anxiety. They may worry a little bit more. They're the people that leave their phone number twice on the message to make sure that you call them back. The hypervigilance, and I can identify them because that was me.
Yeah.
And I'll often get this, well, that's great for you, Laura, but mine is real. It's not stress. It's not overthinking. Like my pain is real.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, mine was too. It is like all pain is valid, but what's fascinating is if you do a functional MRI of a brain of somebody in chronic pain, their brain is lit up like a Christmas tree. Like this is real. What you're experiencing is real. And we tend to be the sensitives that are a little bit more sensitive to bright lights and loud noises and strong scents and foods and all these things. And when we start to work with the brain and the nervous system, it truly transformed my life in a way that a lot of the other modalities and things, and even years and as a physical therapist and years in PT and some of these tools, it was a missing link for me. And so I look at it completely different, but people also have to be open to it.
Right.
And I realize not everybody is, or they may not be at that place in their journey. So I kind of look at my job as to provide a little education and then we just let it simmer.
Yeah. That is fascinating. I mean, I feel like you're describing many, many women though. Like, that is how we roll, a lot of us. So you were able to successfully retrain your brain on its pain perception. So is that like a pathway where when you experience the pain, you tell it to do something else? Or can you give us an example of what you had to do to figure out how to retrain?
Yeah, there's several different things that work for different people. One is called somatic tracking is a tool. And there's a whole, it's called pain reprocessing therapy. People can go, there's some coaching in this, there's cool
Yeah.
podcasts on this, but ultimately you have to create a deep sense of safety within the body. So when you feel pain, what happens
Mhm.
to most people is like if my hip would start hurting, I would go, oh no, now I have pain. Oh my gosh, when is this going to go away? I need to call my chiropractor. Da, 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 right? Like we start
Mhm.
to go down this fear
Yeah.
spiral of something's wrong, something's wrong. So the brain is going to panic. That only makes the brain freak out more and go, oh, we're not safe. Look, she's totally freaking out right now. So the challenge is
Freaking-
we notice it, and then I go from a place of curiosity. This is not easy to do when you're in physical pain. So it takes some
No.
practice. But I go, "Oh, that's interesting. Okay, my hip is talking to me right now. Like I'm having a sensation. It's okay. There's nothing physiologically wrong with me. I'm safe right now. This is allowed to be here. If I'm out for a walk, I could be like, "Hey, I see you, and we're going to finish our walk or we're going to
Mhm.
finish our deadlift." Or cuz guess what, when you avoid movement, that perpetuates the pain cycle of it's not safe to move, I can't do anything, blah blah blah. So it's slowly getting back to those activities of daily life and teaching and reinforcing to the body that this actually is safe
Mhm.
and that nothing is wrong and we're okay. And it takes time.
Oh, for
And
sure.
some of this is sometimes people, there's like a book phenomenon response where people read books about neuroplastic pain and they're just, once they get the knowledge and the belief, their pain just goes
Yeah.
away. Others, if you have a very high stress bucket, like a deep,
Mhm.
big stress bucket, it might take us a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But for me, I noticed the somatic tracking helped, coaching helped, but then it went deeper for me of I needed to set boundaries and remove some unhealthy people from my life and start saying no and actually have office hours
Right.
with my time and
Right. Like,
go
as
to
you know,
yeah, like go to therapy and like work on some of those bigger things that I had. Turning off the notifications, walking outside and not listening to a book or a podcast or music or anything, but just being present more, being
Mhm.
bored more, like regulating the nervous system. Because if we're in a high state of alert, our phone's blowing up all the time, we
Right.
can't get off screens, we're answering, like that's all creating this sense of not safe in the body. And so some of it could be, for some people, it could be journaling. For some people, it could be kind of like focusing on those glimmers. For some people, it's, I remember my coach told me, you need to take a 10-minute break in the morning and in the afternoon. And it made me so uncomfortable. I was like, what? I don't have time for that. What am I going to do? That's boring. But like, and so all of this, but it's essentially we stop when people ask me like, "How do you heal?" Because I was told I had chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, chronic Lyme
Right.
disease, all these crazy things. I stopped going to the practitioners. I canceled the acupuncture, the rolfing, the PT appointments, the chiropractic, all of that, and I
Mhm.
went all in with, "Okay, we're gonna start retraining the brain. We're gonna," and it's a constant practice of coming back to center and regulating yourself and quieting the monkey mind and the inner critic that
Yeah.
likes to go crazy all the time. But I notice what's really interesting is when I started doing this work, my chronic insomnia got better. My chronic
Oh.
digestive issues got better. I had food sensitivities for over 10 years. I was gluten, dairy, refined, sugar free. Couldn't eat those things or would have a full migraine. I can eat anything now without
Really?
any issues. So there's a lot of hope. Now
Mhm.
I'm still working on it. We widened that window of tolerance. So I went from having chronic migraines every
Right.
day, daily headaches. Now, if I get one, it's usually a big stressor or an emotional thing came up, or like you were traveling and you didn't get any sleep. And
Right.
now I know, and I'm like, oh, so pain is a human experience. If we didn't have pain, we would die.
Right.
But when we start to kind of work with this and basically start to reduce our fear around it, a lot of cool things can happen.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, yeah. Your body was definitely
Ooh,
all over the place.
ooh. Yeah, I was super dysregulated.
Oh. Well, kudos to you. That sounds like that is hard. I mean, sometimes to stop that crazy mind chatter and things going on, that's a really hard and takes a lot of practice. So it's empowering to know that there's hope there.
Yes, it's like
Um,
putting in the reps at the gym.
right, right. And those are the hardest. The mental stuff I think is the hardest to overcome because it's just there's always something playing in our heads. So
There
no, it's
is. And the
great.
beauty is noticing that it's not you
Yeah.
and creating where like, oh, wow, that's fascinating. Huh. You know, and I like to joke with it now. Like, I think we're so rough on ourselves, and I'll just be like,
Yeah.
there I go being a human again, or that was silly, or, you just kind of like move on.
And then it doesn't stress you out as much because you're just like, yeah, it is incredible, like flipping the script when, I used to get very, very anxious with certain things or just anything. And I don't know if it's just getting older, but it's just like, I don't have time to worry because I've worried so much in my life or feared or been concerned and it did nothing. So right.
That is
It's
okay.
literally doing nothing. It's as much energy to worry about it as to not, and the same result's gonna happen whether you worry or not. So, yeah.
One of my favorite things to do is just like put my hands over my heart and just say, either way, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
It will. It always is. I mean, or we learn things, we go through different phases in life, pain, joy, loss, all the things. So, but let's talk a little bit about oils because I know you love essential oils as I do. Let's dive deeper into how maybe you use them personally for yourself or with your clients. And what are some of your go-tos for supporting women's health? So maybe start with you. What's your regimen for essential oils for you with all of the things you have going on?
I love our foundational wellness
Yeah.
supplements. Those are so key for so many things. So I feel like women, we need to be dialing in those foundations because they do impact the nervous system. And you
Right.
can't meditate your way out of a magnesium deficiency or the
Right.
omega-3
Yeah.
fatty acid deficiency or some of these things. So
Right.
you really do need to be bringing those in with consistency. And I personally love Shinrin Yoku or Adaptive. They're two of my favorites to help with nervous system regulation and calming and stress. And I tell people, you got to find the one that feels like a hug for your soul. You will know
Right.
what that oil is. For me, it's like those are kind of my go tos. But I love doing, and I don't think we do this enough, like a nice little ear massage with the oil. There's a reason why that's part of our aroma touch technique,
Yeah.
doing like a nice little neck massage, like making it a thing. And it doesn't have to take long.
Mm.
It can be 30
Right.
seconds or a minute, but applying that and using that, using and diffusing your essential oils. I look
Mhm.
at foundational wellness is like nourishment for the body, and diffusing
Right.
is nourishment for your soul and your
Right.
emotions. It's like pulling that in for that aromatic support is so essential. I'm a big Clary Calm roller
Mm.
fan. I roll that
Yeah.
over the lower abdomen and inside the ankle bones. I keep it
Mhm.
by my toothbrush morning and
Yeah.
night so that I can use that with consistency. And ever since we learned about on guard and heart rate variability, I
Mhm.
keep
Oh
all
yeah.
your
The gum.
beadlets. Yes,
Yeah.
like I now will do the beadlet and I'll like pop it and I'll just put it under my tongue morning and night for a little bit of extra support there
Yeah.
too. But
Awesome.
I love to get intuitive with the oils and play a little bit. We have so many good ones.
We do.
And
How
I
many?
will say too, for those in chronic pain who are looking at the oils or the supplements, come to it from a place of this is care for my nervous system versus
Mhm.
fear. If we're putting
Right.
something on to like get rid of the thing or get it to go away or taking the supplement to try to run away from XYZ, the sensation, that's a much different energy than taking something out of just gratitude,
Right.
support, love for our body, very different. And your brain and
Yes.
nervous system will interpret it differently.
Yeah. Do you recommend that women track their maybe HRV, their heart rate variability? Is that a good indicator of nervous system dysregulation? Because mine is so bad that that's something I'm always working on. But when you said that about the On Guard, I was like, yeah, like I need to go back to doing that. We were testing it, and then I wear like an aura ring. But yeah, and I also have heard like HRV can go up and down, especially with women's cycles. Like there's certain parts of your cycle that I always notice it's lower. And it's typically when like there's a little bit more of a struggle sleeping. And
Mhm.
it's really interesting when you can track that data and see how your body feels, what it's doing, what the actual metrics are. So
It's fascinating.
it
I
is
I think it comes down to know thyself.
right.
If you are a very hypervigilant person and you tend to run high anxiety, worrying, and if you're tracking all those things, and if you're one of those recovering perfectionists and you're looking for a gold star, and you
Yeah.
open up your metrics and you freak out and you go, maybe you woke up and you think, oh, I slept pretty good. But then your phone tells you, no,
Yeah.
you're in recovery mode. Then I would say might be time to let it go. For me
Mhm.
and my healing, I stopped with the trackers just
Yeah.
because I was the person that I would freak out and they'd be like, well, why is this bad? And then right, I go into
Yep.
the fix it and the uh-oh and the da, da,
Same.
da. And I would even let it impact my workouts. If
Mhm.
I felt good, but it said,
Right.
you shouldn't push yourself to work to
Yes. Yes.
what I
Oh my
found
God.
to be really helpful is, like, just starting to build that relationship with my body, like, learning to interpret the language of my body, like, what it's telling me, working together with it, and for me, the metrics were kind of creating more fear,
Right.
versus awareness. So, it's a tool, and I
Mhm.
think it can be really helpful for some people, but if you're leaning on it too much or it's stressing you out or you're feeling like you're failing or
Yeah.
I've just found less is more for me, and it's
Right.
helped me to kinda create more of that relationship of just trusting how I sleep by how I feel versus a
Right.
number on a score.
No, I'm so glad that you gave women permission to not have to look at that, but I had to do the same thing. I really will only look at my stats probably twice a month because I had the exact same thing happen. I would wake up, I thought I slept good, and it would tell me that like my HRV was bad, that my sleep score was low, and that I should take it easy or however they say it in there. And I was like, wait a minute. And then sometimes I would not feel as good and it would be like, you had like the best night of sleep. And I'm like, wait a minute. But then I would like overanalyze everything. And just like you said, I would be like, oh, maybe I should take it easy in my workout, even though I feel great. Or maybe I need to do this. And it's not authentic because we're overthinking. So we must have a similar personality.
We might.
It's funny. No, I think it's great. Like you said, my husband loves to track it. He like puts everything in AI but he makes me so jealous because his HRV is like 80 or something crazy. And I'm like, here mine is at 14. Don't brag about it. Like that I'm so competitive. I get so mad. I'm like, just don't tell me what yours is.
And I think those of us who run a little, like, anxious, we marry these beautiful, calm people. Thank goodness, because 'cause they're so regulating. But, like, I joke, like, my husband's never had chronic pain. No,
Yeah.
like, he's
Right.
very my husband's a golden retriever in human form, like, he's very
Oh,
chill, and
that's awesome. He
and
is
so
very
our
calm.
feeling to your husband being like, "Yeah, look
Yeah.
how great this is," and you're like,
Do not show me that. I love that. That's so fun. Oh, okay, perfect. So women have permission to not go crazy on the data from their Aura Ring, their Apple Watch, whatever. It's a great tool. I look at mine like a couple times a month, but I don't obsess. I used to check it as soon as I woke up in the morning. That was the worst thing to do. It either put me in a bad mood or a really bad mood. 'Cause
"Yeah,
HRV is just barely peaked over 20. Um,
yes, here's your
so
permission slip to take a little break if you need to."
yes,
It's good for your
yes.
mental health sometimes. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so with your physical therapy background, how we kind of talked a little bit about this, but maybe more of the protocols that you use to support pain, inflammation in the body for your patients, yourself. Um, you mentioned like the deep blue products. Is there any stacks that you do, like our frankincense capsules, copaiba, anything like that, as like, hey, when you do have acute pain, instead of going to an Advil, try this first to see if you can dumb down that pain.
Yes, I love our Copaiba soft gels. Amazing for helping with a healthy inflammatory response, for helping with mobility, for range of motion. They did some really cool research on that. And wow, taking one in the morning and one at night, amazing. I also look at our deep blue polyphenol complex that way of like, oh, if you're just feeling pain, discomfort, and you need something, I like to grab Copaiba
Mhm.
or a deep blue polyphenol or both to use.
Yeah.
If you're one of those people that's having more ongoing pain that's been lingering for a little bit longer, doing the frankincense capsules with the
Mhm.
boswellic acid can be really great. That I tell people with those, be patient. That takes time. You're going to need to
Yeah.
take that one with consistency for a couple months to really see a change, but it's so great. Frankie is
Oh,
one of those that works on every single system in the body, and then you add in the boswellic acid, and it's really just a beautiful combo, as well as our turmeric capsules. Nobody does dual chamber capsules quite like doTERRA, and there's nothing else like them on the market, and I
right.
get asked that all the time about turmeric. "Laura, why doesn't ours have black pepper?" And I'm
Mhm.
like, "It's because of our tumerones. We don't need
Yep.
black pepper for absorption."
Right.
So we have the curcuminoids, the curcumin that's like
Right.
the health food store supplement, but because we have the turmerones and we're using the whole plant, you're getting an 11 times absorption. So whereas most supplements on the market, that's why they tell you to take it with
Right.
black pepper and healthy fat because you're not absorbing it.
Yeah.
Ours is in such a cool delivery system. That's another really good one that I'll tell people who are struggling. Take this with consistency for a little
Yeah.
while and see how your body's feeling with that. Because we have so many great tools to help.
Oh man.
And I have a deep love for Deep Blue Rub and the stick.
Yes.
I
Right.
The stick stays in my gym bag at all times. I kinda do the stick in the gym and the rub at home.
Yeah. I know. I have one of those big, big bottles. I keep it beside my bed because sometimes I'll like wake up in the middle of the night during like post ovulation, and it's just like the tension that creeps in your body during that. I'm sure it's hormones or something, but just layering that on my neck, like if it wakes me up in the middle of the night, I can go right back to sleep and then I wake up without
Mhm.
the headache. It's just I think allows my muscles to relax enough that my body relaxes. And you wouldn't think to put a deep blue minty something on in the middle of the night, right? Like it's gonna wake me right up. But for me, that's been such a blessing. Yeah, keep that big old bottle right by the bed.
I do the same thing. If I'm having a ache or discomfort or something that wakes
Yeah.
me up, I've got the Deep Blue, I'll put it on,
Yeah.
whether that's the back of my neck or my hips, and I just create that sense of we're safe, we're okay,
Yeah.
we can relax, and yeah, it's really amazing. I love our Deep Blue products so much. And then I'll tell people, use your oils. We don't often think about diffusing something calming for pain, but it can really help. And the research shows that, like, diffusing lavender can help with postoperative pain. And
Nice.
it's that link into the nervous system and helping to
Yeah.
regulate it. So, whether that's lavender or wild orange or adaptive or something else, use your tools. I always think about if you're in discomfort, what can we do to make you feel 5% better?
Right.
And maybe that is and bring more pleasure and joy, the glimmers, diffusing something, putting your deep blue rub on, taking a nice slow deep breath. All of these things can be very impactful. They're small, but when done with consistency, putting the reps in can make a big difference.
Oh, for sure. No, I love that you mentioned that. Yeah, the pain perception and the essential oils. I remember after my kids had their wisdom teeth extracted, I loved, for some reason, the blend frankincense and on guard together is very,
Mm.
I don't know, it was really beautiful and helpful. But yes, for sure, I love the point of using the calming oils when you're experiencing pain because we think about just applying it, like we just want to stop it, right? We just want to take a capsule or a pill or put something on. We just want it to stop. We don't think about the brain, like you've said so
Yeah.
That's awesome. Um, so what about detox support? Do you find a lot of your clients need that detox support? Is there any go-tos for that during those phases?
I'm a big fan of Revitazen. Oh gosh, and the Revitazen
But
capsules. The Revitazen complex is awesome, and I I'm not somebody who has trouble, like, I tell people so my background's in pelvic floor and women's health, so we talk about
yeah,
poop a lot, we talk about
right,
all of these things, and I tell people, "You should be pooping 2 to 3 times a
right.
day. That should be a normal thing," and most people are, like, pooping, like, 2 or 3 times a week. I'm like, "Oh, backed up." Uh, and
You're
I'm
full
so
of the gap.
you're full of yeah, you are full of it, literally. I am somebody who goes with regularity, and just starting the Revitazine complex for myself, I was like, "My goodness," I'm like, "It is getting stuff out," and I was like, "Wow, this is wild to me." And it was
Mhm,
funny because I was talking with my integrative doctor about what do you see are these biggest things for women's health and perimenopause, because I'm now in perimenopause, and I just kind of asked her, like, "What do you see move the needle the most here?" And she said, "Liver detoxification and support,
mhm.
especially things like milk thistle." And all I heard
Yeah,
was, "Revitazine comp" I was like, "That's great idea. Have something for that."
that's
And
amazing.
I have just noticed it being such a great tool for
Mhm.
getting things moving
Yeah.
and really supporting the body. And I love the oil as well. The Revitazine oil is awesome. I love to do a nice detox bath with that or castor oil pack with that.
So was
I
yeah, you do those. Yeah, guess I will
Yes.
pop.
Those are great tools
Mhm.
and great products that I've had a lot of fun playing with. So,
Nice. Well, the Revitazine capsule is another one of those dual chambered capsules like you were sharing about the turmeric. So it has the
yes.
oil and then it also has the plant extract, well, the like powders and things in there, the milk thistle and the different things that they have in there. I love that product so much. I actually take one in the morning and one at night. I take two a day. I was a big Zendiger herbal complex. I took
Mm.
that just with the I have that MTHFR gene mutation where I don't methylate well, I don't detox well, and so yeah, I think our livers, the more I learn about women in perimenopause and the hormones and processing things, it seems like our livers are just so taxed, and if they aren't functioning well, then we can't process those hormones correctly or get rid of them, however it works. So
It
it's
does make a big
fascinating.
difference. And I have
Yeah.
the
How many
MTHFR genetics,
do you?
so
Yeah.
I think there's
And
something to that.
there's a huge component to the anxiety, like with when you have that MTHFR gene mutation, you tend to be more anxious. I think I'd read something about that. It was a very interesting thing with your mind.
That
And
does not
there,
surprise me.
yeah, it's really
'Cause I've
fascinating.
noticed a lot of my highly sensitive souls
Yeah.
have that, will show up with that, and, like, highly sensitive people, it's a real thing, there's data, read the book on it,
Yeah.
it's fascinating, but yeah, I noticed that a lot of our just sensitive souls tend to show up with
Yeah.
that more.
Yep, I think so. It's very fascinating. Um, so for stress management, we talked about adaptive, Shinrin Yoku. I love Serenity products. I love that. Even just lavender straight.
Mhm.
Anything I missed there in particular?
I think you're right on the money. Copaiba soft gels, adaptive complex, the adaptive capsule, all of those can be really, really powerful.
Awesome. How about for the woman listening who's stuck in the cycle of doctor visits and normal labs, where should she start initially? What would be your first recommendation for her?
Hmm. To pause and take a look inward. Like,
Yeah.
how is your nervous system? Are you constantly going and running? Does the thought of taking a rest break freak you out? That probably means that, like, we don't feel safe
Yeah.
to rest.
Right.
Like, start there. I'm a big, big fan of counseling or somatic experience therapy. There's some fascinating research of just going to therapy for a year. We're not
Mhm.
talking all these other lifestyle changes. can have a dramatic effect on inflammatory markers, immune system markers, like all of these things here too. And also, I think we need an integrative team and people who feel like healers to you. And
Right.
really starting to cultivate that. I am the CEO of my health and wellness, and you have the power to hire and fire anyone that's a part of your team. Healthcare
Right.
is a business. Yeah. And you are the boss of what you decide is going to happen here. And the more that you start to trust your intuition and your inner wisdom, that's where healing's going to happen from. So I would say you probably know deep down the next right step for you. So trust that and take that step, whether that's making that appointment or whatever nudge that you got, start to trust that and go from there.
Yes, perfect. Um, what are the foundational changes that make the biggest impact in the shortest time? Maybe from a perspective, I mean, you're talking about the mindset there, but maybe what is something they could add to their daily routine to just help with that energy, that, just nutrition.
I'll tell you the three things that changed my life: foundational wellness and our oils. So doTERRA, weightlifting.
Yes.
If I could tell women one thing, please go
Yes.
and start weight training and putting muscle mass on your body. It's going to transform everything. Your metabolic health, your mental health, your confidence, your strength, so many things. And work on nervous system regulation and the brain retraining. Like these were my holy grail for
That's awesome.
healing. And I know there's a lot of fear around weight training. It's mm, if I could if I could tell women to do one thing, and you just have to trust us. I mean, Jen and I met in a gym.
Yeah.
You're gonna meet your
I am right there with you. I was terrified of weightlifting. My coach, she is ripped. She's gorgeous, but I like a long, lean look. And I said, this program is like heavy weights and like, I mean, obviously I built up to what I could do. But yes, she just wants me to keep adding weight. And I'm like, I don't want to be bulky. And she goes, I promise you, you're not going to be bulky. And I said, oh, I'm going to get bulky. And she said, no, you won't. And she's absolutely right. I've been doing this program for almost a year. I'm the strongest I've ever been. Taking my chicken feet out. I've got 50-pound bags on my shoulders. I've got my one, grandson, 40 some on this, and then the almost 20-pound on the other side. And I can just go and I can walk far distances with weight. And it's so empowering as a woman to not have to ask someone to help you. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with asking a man to pick up a case of water, but I just do it. you know?
I love that so much because I think a lot of us are looking for the next health fad or the gadget or the thing, and I'm like, just invest. And if you don't know where to start, invest in an amazing personal trainer to help you. That is an investment in your health that is going to pay tenfold. I have an incredible virtual personal trainer that I work with. She specializes in nervous system regulation and chronic pain and women's health and hormones. Like there are people out there that can help you. You don't have to go to a gym. You can do this from home. It doesn't have to be scary. And that's exactly what you said, Jen. You're not going to get bulky. I promise you're going to get the look that you want and be toned and be strong. And it has transformed everything for me. And I think there was a piece of me that needed to feel strong. I feel like a badass when I'm doing pull-ups in the gym. Like it's just it changes your confidence and your mental health. And I think where your mind goes, your body's gonna follow. And so much of the fitness journey is more mental than it is
Oh,
physical.
so true. So true. And it's such a win when you show up each day for yourself, even when you don't feel like it, and you do the workout, like that just gives you confidence. And then you start seeing the results. But just achieving that consistency and committing to yourself and winning with yourself is huge. No, I love that. So let's see here. What are some of the things we can end here with? So what would you tell the woman who's been suffering for years and feels hopeless about ever feeling normal again? I'm sure you had some days like that.
Mm. that she's not alone,
Yeah.
that I promise it will get better, that it doesn't feel like it right now, but this challenge is going to set you on a journey and a path to coming back home to yourself with this, that healing really is possible, and to keep showing up and showing yourself so much self-compassion and self-love along this journey. Like,
Yeah.
do not give up on yourself. I know things are rough right now, and you are going to come out the other side, and believe it or not, you're going to help other people do the same.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. So tell us where people can connect with you and learn more about your coaching programs. We'll definitely drop in the show notes below your website, how to connect with you through doTERRA, all the things. But if you just want to share maybe your website, if they're listening, driving, and just commit it to memory, and we have it on the show then.
It's just drlauraricci.com. It's DRLAURARICCI. But I'm in all the places at Dr. Laura Ricci for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Have a lot of videos on YouTube. Lots of things for support for you.
I'm glad you said your last name, and hopefully I didn't say it earlier because I said it wrong.
No, it's okay. It's one of those weird ones. I tell people it's like Christina Ricci.
Or Ricci, like, yeah. No, it's good. I'm glad that I know how to say your last name now. I probably heard it like so many times in doTERRA, and it just
It's
went
all
one ear.
good.
I love it. Well, it has been such a good conversation here. I think you offered so much hope for women overall. I mean, I've learned things just about pain in your brain, and um, giving ourselves permission not to be obsessed with our metrics and data, and just really permission to pause in our days, even if it's a 10-minute break in the morning and a 10-minute break in the afternoon. I think as women, every single woman should listen to this. I'm sure almost all women can hear herself in a place of being one of those women at a time in her life, maybe when she's younger or if she currently is in it. And hopefully we can help that cycle break a little bit so that they can become healthier and regulate their nervous system and use the tools that we have in doTERRA to support that. So yeah, any final thoughts or anything before we end? It's been such a pleasure having you on today.
Oh my gosh, it has been such a joy. And I really want to remind women that your body is not broken, and it's never too late to begin supporting it in a different way. And that,
Oh,
like, take one thing, just take one thing from our conversation and start there, and your intuition will lead you. And it's amazing what can happen from one little shift, one little change.
yeah. The cascade. I love that you said it's never too late, because I think sometimes I thought that getting in my later 40s, I'll never be ripped. Not that I will be ripped, but the muscle
Pretty ripped,
definition,
Jen.
the muscle definition that I'm seeing by working on it is far more than I ever had in my entire life. And I thought, wow, it isn't ever too late. It is never too late to start. So I love that you gave that example. Like, just start. That's the thing. Start and the cascade happens. So, oh my gosh, you're just such a calm soul, such a breath of fresh air. So I loved having you on today, and I can't wait to see you in a week and a half. And yes, thank you so much. So if you like this content, please hit a like, a subscribe, and that will help us to continue bringing wellness to your home.